I haven't felt like I was 20 feet from stardom for a long time. It was just doing this movie that brought everything back. Smoking, drinking, dancing, you know, about my life in this business.
What did it feel like back then?
Well, I was a backup singer. The great thing about being a backup singer, when I started, nobody treated me like a backup singer. They always were so excited about me and my group, The Blossoms, being on their records. So it was always great. You go in the studio, you felt like you were one of the stars. The thing that made it great about The Blossoms, we were black, and we were the first background singers to ever do recording sessions. It was a white world. The singers were white, and they were what we call the readers. They could read music. We could not read, but we had great ears.
Well, what about financially working in this business? I mean, did you make good money as a background singer?
Sometimes a day, I don't know why I became an artist. During the 60s, scale in the union was $22.50 an hour. So I made, in a year, I could make over $100,000 in a year.
And residuals?
We didn't get residuals. We actually started getting residuals about a couple of years ago.
You
as
didn't
background singers.
Why didn't you get residuals?
Because it was no law in our union that said, as a background singer, you got residuals. They just passed that law for us a couple of years ago.
So you've begun in recent times to get some of that money back or not?
Big time. I got a check from, it's called Sound International.
Mm-hmm.
I got a check from them for $56,000. For back money that we had not got.
What was it like working on That's Life and Do Run Run?
Amazing. Do Run Run wasn't as much fun as it was working with Frank Sinatra singing That's Life, because he was such a great guy. He was very funny and he played with us, and all right guys, make me sound good.
And Monster Mash?
Monster Mash. You know, I think the biggest thing we did at that time was working with Elvis Presley, doing his backup on his 1968 comeback.
You didn't read music?
Not at all.
You didn't read music?
No.
Did you learn as you went along or not?
No, we could sight read. You give us the key and we follow the notes. If they went up, we went up, but we could hear where to go on our parts. Or you go down, what we call sight music, we read.
Phil Spector had a huge impact on your life. Talk about working with him.
During the time I worked with Phil, it was great because he hadn't become such a big star yet. And we didn't find out later that Phil Spector was trying to make himself a name, not us a name. So that held me back for years. But he was a great producer.
In this picture, you were in the foreground, and the star, Bruce Springsteen's in the background.
I love that. That was when I got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And the writer said, we saw this guitar on the stage all night long and nobody was playing it. But the minute you started singing, Bruce picked up the guitar and started playing the guitar. And that's what makes everything that I've done over the last 50 years so much fun, that these people said years ago I should be a star, and I finally got my due.
And you're getting ready to release your first full-length album, is that correct?
Yes.
In your life, all these years, and you've never done a full-length album.
Because Phil, back in the days when we were recording, people didn't really make albums, they made 45s or singles, almost back what they're doing today. You go on the internet and buy one record. My very, very good friend, Steve Van Zandt, years ago when I met him, he said, we're gonna get together and I'm gonna do an album with you. And here we are just doing it.
I think what strikes me about having a conversation with you, and I watched you on that documentary, as I said, a couple of times, and I honestly, you seem to have absolutely no regrets. You seem to be joyful about everything you've done and continue to do. Despite some of those setbacks, how do you remain so positive?
It's something I want to do and something I love to do. There's nothing more precious to me than standing on the stage in front of your friends and lifting their spirits.
You've given us a lot of joy, and we thank you for it. It's nice to meet you, Darlene.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.